In the quiet coastal town of Greyport, the sea was both a gift and a curse. The fishermen who lived there often spoke of the ocean as if it were alive, something that breathed, thought, and occasionally demanded something in return. Most of them dismissed the stories as superstition, but there were a few who believed in the old whispers, that something ancient slept beneath the waves, something that waited to be awakened. Evelyn Moore wasn't one for folklore. She was a marine biologist, newly stationed at the Greyport Marine Research Facility, a lonely cluster of buildings perched on the cliffs overlooking the Atlantic. She had come to study the recent pattern of dead sea creatures washing ashore, fish with strange wounds, dolphins with eyes clouded by some unknown infection, and deep-sea species that should never have been near the surface. The town was small, quiet, and filled with suspicious faces. Every time Evelyn asked questions, she was met with vague answers or forced smiles. The fishermen especially avoided eye contact when she mentioned the deep trench, a dark, abyssal chasm several miles off the coast that local maps only marked with a single word: forbidden. The first night she arrived, the wind carried the distant sound of something like a whale's cry, but longer, more human. It echoed across the cliffs and through her rented seaside cottage. She thought it was just the wind, but when she woke up the next morning, she found wet footprints leading from the shore to her porch. The prints weren't human. The toes were too long, the shape too wide. The ocean fog lingered thick that morning. As Evelyn prepared her equipment, she noticed an old man watching her from the docks. His name, she later learned, was Captain Harlan Briggs, the oldest fisherman in Greyport, his skin weathered by decades of storms and salt. He didn't speak much, but when he did, it was always with a tone of warning. "You're studying the trench, aren't ya?" he rasped, his single eye narrowing. Evelyn nodded. "Yes, I am. Do you know anything about it?" Briggs spat into the water. "Ain't nothing down there that wants to be found. Things come up from the dark when you start looking too hard." Evelyn laughed it off politely, but she could see fear in his face. Real fear. The research team consisted of 4 others: Dr. Lewis, her mentor, technicians Carla and Jonah, and a diver named Marcus. Together, they set out on their small vessel, the Orpheus, toward the coordinates of the trench. As they approached, the sonar readings began to glitch. The ocean floor disappeared from the display, replaced by static and strange interference that almost looked like movement. "Probably just a signal bounce," Lewis said, but his voice wavered. They dropped an underwater drone fitted with lights and cameras. The feed came through perfectly until it descended beyond 3,000 meters. Then, for a moment, they all saw it, a shape passing beneath the camera lens. Massive. Silent. The feed cut to black. Then came a sound, distant and echoing, like something sighing from the deep. Jonah replayed the last frame over and over. A single frame captured something that looked like an eye, round, luminescent, easily the size of a car tire. That night, Evelyn couldn't sleep. The image haunted her, that eye staring from the void. She dreamt of being underwater, sinking endlessly through darkness, surrounded by faint shapes moving in the periphery. Something enormous brushed past her, and when she opened her mouth to scream, seawater poured in until she woke gasping for air. The next morning, the ocean was unnaturally still. No waves, no wind, just a silent expanse of glassy water. Marcus insisted on diving despite the eerie calm. "If there's something down there, I want to see it myself," he said. Against her better judgment, Evelyn agreed to monitor his descent. The first 100 meters were uneventful, but as he went deeper, his breathing grew heavier. "Evelyn," he whispered over the comms, "something's wrong with the light. It's bending." Static crackled. "There's movement below me." The sonar pinged faintly. Then again louder. Something was rising toward him, fast. "Marcus, ascend now," she shouted. But it was too late. His camera spun violently. A glimpse of dark tendrils. A flash of teeth. Then silence. The line went slack. When they hauled it up, only his helmet remained, crushed inward as though by unimaginable pressure. Back on shore, Evelyn reported the incident as a deep-sea accident, but her hands trembled as she typed. That night, she returned to her cottage and found something nailed to her door, a piece of coral, black as coal, pulsing faintly as if alive. When she touched it, it burned her skin, leaving behind a faint mark that looked like a spiral. She ran to Briggs' home, desperate for answers. The old man looked pale when he saw the mark. "You've been touched by it," he muttered. "The thing below. It knows your name now." "What are you talking about?" she demanded. Briggs told her of the old tide, a legend whispered by sailors for centuries. It spoke of an ancient god that dwelled beneath the ocean, a creature that fed on light and memory. Every few decades, it called to someone, a voice in dreams, a pull in the water. Those who followed never returned. Those who resisted slowly went mad. "The trench is its mouth," Briggs said, "and it's starting to open again." Over the next days, Greyport began to change. The seabirds vanished. The tides grew erratic. A strange mist rolled in each night, thick enough to swallow sound. People started disappearing. First a dock worker, then a boy who had gone to collect seashells. Evelyn began hearing whispers when she stood near the water, soft and pleading, calling her by name. When she played back her audio recordings from the research vessel, she noticed something chilling. A low voice in the background of every clip, murmuring words she couldn't understand. But when the audio was reversed, one phrase became clear. "Set it free." Sleep eluded her. Every time she closed her eyes, she was underwater again, sinking towards something vast and luminous in the dark. Its voice filled her skull. "Evelyn Moore. Come home." One evening, she returned to the lab to find Dr. Lewis staring blankly at the sonar feed. The display showed the trench again, but this time it wasn't empty. Something enormous was moving within it, coiling and uncoiling like a serpent. The sonar readings were off the charts. "It's waking up," Lewis whispered. "It's been waiting for us." Before she could respond, he pulled a revolver from his drawer and fired a single shot into his temple. On the wall behind him, written in his blood, were 2 words. "Below calls." Panic gripped Evelyn. She packed her notes, recordings, and samples, intending to flee the town. But as she started her car, the headlights flickered, and there, in the fog, she saw dozens of figures standing at the shoreline. Townsfolk, fishermen, all staring blankly at the sea. They began to walk in unison into the water. She screamed, tried to stop them, but none reacted. They disappeared beneath the waves without a ripple. Then she saw it, the ocean glowing faintly, pulsating as if breathing. From the depths, something vast was rising, its shape hidden beneath the fog. She ran, tripping on the rocky path, but a wave crashed over her, dragging her down. Cold darkness swallowed her whole. When she awoke, she wasn't in her cottage, but deep underwater. Yet somehow she could breathe. Around her, structures of coral and bone formed massive spirals, and bioluminescent creatures drifted lazily. In the distance, she saw it, the thing below. Its body was beyond comprehension, a shifting mass of flesh, eyes, and tendrils that defied shape or reason. It spoke directly into her mind. "You sought the truth. Now you will become part of it." Evelyn screamed, but the sound turned into bubbles. The mark on her arm burned as tendrils wrapped around her body, pulling her toward the creature's endless maw. Her vision blurred, and in her final moments, she felt not fear, but understanding. The ocean wasn't alive. It was a single ancient organism, and every living thing was part of it. Then, everything went black. Weeks later, a rescue team found the Orpheus adrift near the trench. No crew. No sign of struggle. Only Evelyn's logbook floating in the cabin. The last entry read, "It's not the abyss we should fear. The abyss has already risen." When the rescuers played the last audio file on her recorder, it was faint but unmistakable. A woman's voice whispering beneath the static, "I'm still below."